Hello and welcome to the video. In this video I'd like to show you this thing here. This is the ISDT C4. Nice to see they named it after a plastic explosive. Now this is a charger for a slightly different set of chargeable batteries. Normally the chargers that we look at, and looked at loads of ISDT stuff on the channel, and generally I'm pretty impressed with it. But this is to charge things like AA, AAA and 18650 style cells. Now I got this because originally I bought a couple of 18650 cells, and I'll show you in a second where they're being used, but I'm noticing that they're starting to crop up in lots of other places in the hobby as well. So having a charger like this that can do a good job and look after those batteries and charge them is going to be coming very handy. Taking it out the bag, the standard ISDT build quality, nice and weighty, big fan at the back that's quite loud when it's in operation. DC input voltage is 12 to 24 volts. We'll look at the mains adapter in a second, and a USB port with a couple of amps of output. So if you want, you can also charge your tablet or your phone with this thing as well. Let me just pull the mains adapter out. The mains adapter unfortunately isn't a UK plug. An adapter came in the package, but as you can see here, it's going to output 12 volts at 2.5 amps. So you could run this on a LiPo battery if you made an adapter. I have big lithium ion batteries. I tend to take the field, so I might make an adapter and use it with that instead. Maximum charge current per battery is 3 amps, 8 amps in total. Get the ISDT D2 that's always sat on my bench and used for pretty much everything these days. The ISDT D2 is not that much bigger actually. It's about twice as deep and a little bit wider. So this C4 is kind of pocket sized, I guess. So this will do charge, discharge, storage, cycle, activation and analysis. It'll do 166 cycles. The display on this is one of the big benefits. It's a 320 by 240 LCD display. Let me just see if I can get this cover off, and all the controls are those little touch controls on the right hand side. So now not only can you have the beautiful updated display as you're charging your LiPos, you can do it while you're charging your nickel metal hydrides, your NiCads, your lithium ions and all those other things too. So let me show you what it's like to charge a couple of batteries. There's a couple of spares. I actually use the batteries most in this thing. Now I've got a couple of these battery adapters. These are the fat sharp ones that take the 18650 cells. I have this connected to the back of my transformer screen, and I use this an awful lot for FPV setups. In fact, it's usually running for a couple of hours on the days when I'm doing build and FPV testing. So it's great to have a couple of spare ones ready to go. So when those batteries that are in there start to give up, I can just slap the 2 extra ones in and I can continue to fly or to do my setup. Now the way it works is that depending on the batteries that you have, depends on the way you have to install them. Now there's no spring-loaded contacts in here, so you don't have lots of ability to decide what you want to do. But if you're on 18650, it'll take 2 horizontally, and then with things like AA and AAA batteries, then they'll fit in the other slots. Now I've been using this thing here to the charging, which has spring-loaded contacts, and I quite like spring-loaded contacts. It gives you a little bit more flexibility, but this is a slightly different way of doing it. So if I bring it up to the camera, you can see that it has AA and AAA pieces, so you can see exactly where everything needs to go. So let me plug it in, power it up, and you'll see initially it powers up and it's just waiting for you to plug the battery in. As soon as you plug the battery in, it will automatically detect what's going on. If you press and hold the middle circle button, it'll take you into the menu that will allow you to do the main settings. But I'll tell you what, let me just zoom in a little bit so the exposure works, and then you can see what's on the screen. So here in the main menu, we've got system information, factory settings, language, volume, backlight, all that kind of goodness. But the fun bit comes when you actually plug in a battery, because it will auto detect the battery type and start to charge. Now you can select all of those things and have it so it doesn't auto start the charge, but I've just been using it like that and it's actually been working pretty well. And as I put the second battery in, it's going to start charging. So you can see the different statuses. By using the buttons I can flick between both. You can see the voltage, the time, the resistance of the cell, and also at the bottom that is a voltage curve, which with these kind of batteries you'll find rises pretty quickly and then starts to tail off. But just flicking between the two screens, you can see the difference between the two 18650 cells that I'm charging here. When it finishes, it makes a nice beeping noise, just like the other ISDT chargers. So if it's running by your side and you're doing something else on your bench, then you'll notice when it's finished. To be honest, you'll probably notice when it's finished anyway, because the fan will eventually stop and you'll realize how much noise it was making. The fan in this is quite loud, so you don't want to have this in the corner of a living room while you're watching TV. It is something that you're aware of when it's running, but actually I'd rather have a loud fan and lots of efficient cooling than have something that's going to get warm and cause a problem. I've also been using it with a couple of the nickel and metal hydride batteries, and it's worked fine with those as well. Again, you can get a better idea here of how it all fits in, and unsurprisingly, it's an ISDT charger. It works pretty well. Now, some people will look at the price and probably think that's quite expensive, but if you already like your ISDT kit and you want something that you can also use to charge these kind of batteries, then this is a good choice. If they make an updated version of this, there's only a couple of small changes I'd like to see. It would have been nice to have an XT60 connector on the back rather than me have to make an adapter for my big fat lithium ion packs that I take to the field. If you're going to have such a wide voltage range of 12 to 24 volts, then why not put something like an XT60 on the back and allow you to charge these batteries from a big fat lithium ion or LiPo pack that you have, or even a big lead acid battery at the field. And the other thing I'm a bit disappointed about is there isn't any spring-loaded contacts in here. So it does mean that the battery types that are stated on the website are pretty much the only battery types that you're going to be able to get in here. If you want to use a different length, size, capacity, width of battery, even if the chemistry is compatible with this charger, then unfortunately you are not going to be able to use those batteries with this thing. But hopefully that's interesting for those of you that have seen this on the website. I found that it's worked really well here. Just make sure that you have the right adapter for the mains plug, and you'll have your cylindrical rechargeable batteries charged in no time. If you found that video useful or like the content, then please hit the like and subscribe button down below. If you want to go the extra step, you can become a Patreon of the Painless 360 channel and help provide support for what I do here. All the videos created here are put into playlists, so if you're interested in a particular topic, have a look at the playlist, and they all are organised in there to make them easier to use. If you're not sure if there's a video for your particular problem or topic you want to know more about, then add Painless 360 to the Google search term that you're interested in, and that should find the video, article or content about the particular thing that you're interested in having a look at.